A group of investors, entrepreneurs, and leaders from the tech industry came together in Canada to support the emerging Metaverse sector. At the front of this collective is Dan Burgar, a champion of technology, innovation, and a promoter of augmented reality and virtual reality. We met here at the Collision Conference in Toronto to talk about the future of technology.
Dan, you call yourself a pioneer, but are we already in the future of technology?
I believe we're living through a technological revolution right now. We're seeing VR, AR, AI, Web3, clean tech, robotics, all starting to permeate throughout innovation. And we're seeing this really interesting time in our history where these technologies are really starting to help shape our lives and change the way we think about work, change the way we think about connection. And I think for me, I really think of this as a really interesting and exciting time. There's a lot of negative kind of connotations around some of this technology, but I actually think it's going to help humanity and it's going to help us connect closer to each other.
Well, what are some of the misconceptions? Because there is a lot of fear of the unknown, but if you can, give us the top 3 misconceptions when it comes to AR, VR, AI, and the Metaverse.
Yeah, with AR, VR, I think a lot of people have looked at that as video gaming. So video games, fun, entertainment, but what I'm mostly seeing in the VR, AR ecosystem is really around utility and practical use cases. So we're seeing companies like Precision OS really using the technology for surgical training. So teaching their orthopedic surgeons quicker than they have before and rather than on an actual human. So you could actually make more mistakes. You can actually get those reps in to be able to have that precise measurement, the precise incisions that you need to do. Some of the other misconceptions around it is that that it's going to replace all our jobs. It's going to replace humans. I actually don't think that. I actually think this is sort of the natural cycle of technology where it's going to actually give us stronger tools to be able to do our jobs more effectively.
But did you see this coming, and do you see what's coming next?
I did not. For the generative AI boom that we're seeing, I did not see that coming so fast, and it's evolving by the minute. That is going to, it already has changed the world, and it shows this kind of frontier technology of really around sort of the utility around it, how it's being used every day, how it could actually help you be efficient and take back the hours that you need to do other work or even just life things. So I never saw that coming as quickly and as rapidly. I do think it's coming too quick. I do think there are certain guardrails that we need to put in place to ensure that it doesn't innovate quicker than we can catch up, that we can sort of move with, right? I think there's a lot of governmental regulations that still need to be put in. First, government needs to be informed. Working with the AI experts to really look at what are some of the dangers, what are some of the kind of protection measures that we need to put into place, and I think that's already starting to happen.
Well, I do want to get back to the work career point in a moment, but to what you just said, I do want to ask you about what Google's former chief said about AI being worse than climate change. And the negative impact that AI can bring. You spoke about that a little bit, but do you think that the positives can outweigh the negatives?
I do. I think that, I already look at how, it's already given us superpowers to be able to take information and really use it effectively. I think with AI, generative AI and some of the other technologies around clean tech, can really help make the world a better place. So we at the Frontier Collective, we look at frontier technology as intersections. So VR, AR, AI, clean tech, robotics, it's all going to be interconnected, and we need to use all these technologies to look at how can we use these technologies to solve world problems, and how can we ensure that we're not building a tech bro, make money fast, exit type of ecosystem. We want to actually create real value that's going to help change the world. And I do think that technologies like AI can actually help us get there faster.
Some tech gurus have warned that AI algorithms in VR would build a generation of lazy and uncurious people if there's all this work being done. But besides behavior, and you mentioned this a little bit about AI changing the workplace, but what professional careers do you think people need to stay away from if they're looking into going into a field, and what careers should they go toward to make this work for our future generations?
I do think a lot of jobs will be replaced. Some of the mundane type of tasks will be gone. The computers will do that for us, and I think it'll really help kind of allow us to do more creative type of work. But that being said, there will be some jobs that will be obsolete. But as we've seen with a lot of technological revolutions, these jobs just evolve. As mentioned before, we don't have lamplighters anymore, but we have new types of work that came out of the web boom, website builders, social media experts. We're going to start seeing, like possibly in the VR AR ecosystem, like a Metaverse host, or Metaverse builders, or like chief Metaverse officers. We're going to see an evolution in the way we work.
Do you ever see a point where technology, or is it already competing against other different kinds of technology? For example, if someone is conducting a job interview across the country or on the other side of the world, that can be done now. You don't have to do that in person. And let's say that job can eventually be performed by VR and AI, or some sort of combination, or do you see a point where they're directly competing against one another?
Like the different technologies?
The different technologies.
I actually don't think that's going to be the case. I actually think we need VR. We need AI for AR, VR. We need AR, VR for AI. It's all going to be interconnected. So it's not going to be, we're not going to see verticals anymore. We're going to see a flat line of horizontal technologies that are going to empower each other to be able to scale at a fast rate. So we look at clean tech, there's a lot of computer vision technology that's needing to be integrated. We need a lot of kind of mechanisms around Web3 eventually, and AR, VR, and robotics, and like a lot of these kind of innovative technologies are going to be so interconnected that we're not even going to really call them by their names. It's just going to be technology now. So I really think that there won't be a competition.
Right now AI is very accessible. You can access it through an app, or you don't have to have a specific piece of equipment like you do for AR or VR. Is the cost of having that equipment a hindrance in a way for people to have access?
At the moment, you could still get Oculus Quest, you could still get a Quest 3 at a pretty decent price, which is accessible for the average consumer. You can, the new Apple Vision Pro, that's going to be $3,500 USD. That's going to be quite expensive, but I see their approach. They did it the same with the iMac back in the day. Is really pricing it high and really getting the fanboys, the fangirls into the technology so that they could start iterating, building on it and being able to just get used to it and really kind of champion the technology. And then their approach is later on, they come up with consumer devices that will kind of meet the market demand, meet the the price point of the market that really wants to use the technology.
My perception is during the pandemic, when everyone went home, it was great for the tech industry because you could bring that home in a way.
Yeah.
But at what point do you really need that interaction with your teams? And especially when there's a creative process that is involved, or process where you really need to work through things and see and touch equipment to kind of reach those goals. I mean, there's only so much you can do online.
Yeah, and we're not going to go back to the 5 days a week. That's just not going to happen anymore. Most people, especially the ones I run into in tech, they do want to work from home a lot of the time. But are you able to sort of bring that physical into the mix? So, the shared community spaces, innovation hubs where they can come in, do those brainstorm sessions, whiteboard sessions. But also in VR, you're going to actually be able to go in and iterate with your team digitally, but have that tactile feedback of, hey, I'm in a room with your team, but it might be on the moon or like in some random digital space, but that's going to also give us more ways to connect, a la digitally, but it's going to feel physical. So you'll still have that, like, being able to problem solve on the fly with your team through these digital spaces. But I do think that there's going to be a mix of physical and digital to this new world of work.
Web3 is a big topic these days. How does Web3 compare to the metaverse? As you mentioned, we're kind of in this new phase of technology, and how do they differ from each other? If you could kind of break that down in the simplest terms.
Yeah, so Web3 and the metaverse are going to be like I said, with a lot of these kind of revolutionary technologies, they're going to be there's going to be this intersection that happens. Web3 is sort of that kind of platform that everything's going to be built off of. Payments, ownership, it's all going to, anything within the metaverse is going to live on that. The metaverse is sort of the 3D internet.
Dan Burgar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Cheers.